Hello YouTube and welcome back to my camper conversion YouTube channel. So this video is part of a series converting a Mercedes minibus Trekker from a full mobility minibus into a basically home on wheels. And this video of the series is going to be mounting an underslung 25 litre LPG tank to the frame of the chassis. Now previous videos have shown how I've stripped down all the interior of the van, including removing all of the flooring, which was a pain to do in its own right. But now it's all up, now is going to be the perfect time to be able to get in and get the actual underslung LPG tank mounted, rather than waiting until all the flooring's done and then having to basically clamber back underneath the bus to do it all. Now I should be able to just basically stand in between the beams. It'll just make access so much more easier. So as I say, I've got a 25 litre tank here. Really nice tank, but it didn't come with a mounting bracket, and there are two types of mounts for these out there. There's a rectangular frame with some straps that go over it, or there's what I consider the more sturdier full metal powder coated full metal frame all the way around. These are substantially more expensive than the frame with the straps, but I'll put a link in the description to the tank, regulator, these mounts and the cheaper ones as well. So everything that I'm going to actually be using and fitting here, as I say, I'll put a link in the description below for anybody else who might be interested in fitting one of these yourself as well. So as I say, because the flooring's up, now it's going to be the easiest and best time to get in and get it all done. And looking around the frame, now it's all being wax oiled. The next step is getting this tank fitted before I can then get the flooring in and get that insulated. So I'm thinking I'm going to be mounting it round about this area. Now I've taken the wheelchair lift out, it's opened up all the space completely, and I'm thinking probably going to be mounting it in between these two beams because there's just nothing else around here to get in the way of the tank. So it's not going to be causing any obstructions, it's not going to get in the way, and it will mean that there's still going to be plenty of easy access to it if it did need any sort of maintenance or inspections in the future. So it should be relatively straightforward and easy. We'll see. As I say, I haven't actually mounted one of these before, but as I say, it's just going to be a case of drilling through these beams and mounting the bracket underneath, running some straps around the bracket, and then getting the tank fitted in place, and then getting the fill point mounted on the side of the bus. That'll all get covered later in the video. As I say, the first things first, it's going to be a case of just getting the actual brackets themselves, holes drilled so these can be fitted, and getting the tank on. So I'll get some tools out, some safety gear on, get cracked on, and see if we get it all mounted and see what it all looks like. Right, so there's the two underslung brackets mounted on. I've also moved this support for the wheel arch, for the fiberglass wheel arch. It was mounted on the middle bolt, it's now been moved across, and it's also been bolted to the side of the bracket rather than front to the chassis beam where it was before. Bit of a messy job because I've just wax oiled all of this as well, so obviously some of the wax oil is transferring off, so I'm going to have a good wash up after this as well, but it's getting there. So now I should be able to get the actual bottle in, get some of the rubber straps ran around where it's going to be mounted in, then get the bottle mounted, and then we'll have a look at getting the fill point fitted on the side. So now the tank's actually ready to be mounted in, and before mounting it in I'm just going to run a thin bead of Sikaflex on the rubber straps. Then I'm going to mount those inside just so they've got a bit of grip, just so they won't be slipping, sliding around, especially when they're in transit as well. once it's bonded in place, then I'll be able to get the tank in, get that secured, get all the pipe work in. So as I say, I'll just run a thin bead of Sikaflex on each of the rubber strips, stick those onto the brackets, and then we'll crack on. So there's the tank fully mounted inside the brackets, and if I try and move the tank at all, it's basically just bouncing the bus up and down. It's that secure. I'll show you now. As it's trying to move it at all, and it's just bouncing the suspension. So as you can see, that's pretty secure. I'm pretty happy with that. So now it's just a case of fitting the filling point. So a little top tip, if you're trying to get any hoses through any rubbers and they just won't go, put the rubber into a little tub of hot water, leave it for a couple of minutes, and that should make the rubber nice and pliable. Then it should be able to go over the hose a hell of a lot easier. Then once that's over that, I'll be able to then get the filling point hose itself connected up to the filling point on the actual tank, using a little bit of thread lock around the actual join itself as well. So I'll just wait a couple of minutes for this to warm up, get this mounted, get this on. So the rubber's had the chance to warm up and it's slid straight on, so now the pipe actually fits in with plenty of slack on the rubber as well. Now before I seal it, I'm just going to run some True Blue thread sealant. That's like a liquid with thread lock with Teflon inside it as well. Run that around the male of the connections, nice thick coating all the way around. Then when it joins, it's similar to the PFTE tape that you use on air compressors, but this is actually made for gases, water, things like that. So I'm going to get some of this smothered around, all the way around, then just get that joined up, and then that's half the job done. Then we just need to concentrate on getting the mounting point fitted in the side of the chassis. So all of the pipework's secure on the inside now, so I've just poked a little pilot hole through, just for where the fill point should line up nicely. So I've just got the hole saw out now, just about to start drilling out the big hole for that, and I'll be able to get the fill point secured on the outside and the inside, because as I say, I'm going to try and secure it to the aluminium bar that's running along there as well. So I'll get this hole widened out and we'll start to get it mounted. So I'm just mounting the filling point now. Now obviously if this was metal bodywork, then obviously you'd need to be treating all of the holes that have been cut, but because this is fiberglass, it's never going to rust, it's never going to rot, so no treatment's really required. So, but either way, I've still put a little bead of Sikaflex on the mounting plate as well, just to stop any water going through the other side. Even if it did, it's just going to drop straight out, because as you can see, there's no flooring for it to actually drain onto. But I'll still get it mounted through now, and then I'll be able to get it connected up on the other side. Right, so there we go, there's the fill point all mounted. I did need to fit some longer bolts, just because the original ones were just a little bit too shallow. But now those are on, I can put the cap on, and that protects that. Right, so now the tank's fully in place and pretty much all plumbed in, barring the copper pipe, because I can't do that until the flooring's in. Every manufacturer of the Underslung LPG gas bottles recommends that once they're all in place, they should then be given a thorough coating of some stone chip shield or underseal, this, that, the other, just to be sure that the tank itself is going to be protected from any stones that are going to be bouncing up while the vehicle's driving along, getting kicked up from the wheels or anything like that. As every single manufacturer, whether it's the Gasset or the Auto Gas 2000 people, all of them recommend that the tank should then be fully coated once it's in place. So I've got a full can of the Hammerite Stone Chip Shield there. It's just warming up in the can of hot water at the moment, just to get the spray flowing that a little bit easier. Sometimes when you're spraying cold sprays, they'll go out and just start sputtering, spitting out little bits of paint here and there. If you warm up a can just in hot water before using it, it builds up the pressure inside the can itself, and then when you're spraying it, it kicks it out in a lot finer mist, and you won't get as many splutters of paint coming out, getting runs, dribbles, this, that, the other. So I'll give this another just couple of minutes just to make sure the can's fully warm up. Then, as I say, I'll give this LPG tank a full thorough coating. I'm pretty much going to be using the entire can on this tank, so it's probably going to get 4 or 5 coatings in total. Then after that I might even wax oil it on top of that as well, as it's just a case of trying to offer it as much protection from the elements, from the road going, as possible. So as I say, I'll wait for this just to warm up, then I'll start giving this a good few coatings and see what it looks like when it's all done. Right, so there we go. That is the LPG tank with 3 layers of the Hammerite Stone Chip Underseal Guard, and on top of that I've put a really thick gunky layer of proper wax oil protection treatment as well. So that's that tank as much protected as possible. I say 3 layers of stone chip plus a chunky layer of wax oil on top. I can't really protect it any more than that. So that is the tank fully mounted with the refill point mounted as well. The only thing I've got to do left now is to connect all of the copper pipe work, but obviously, as you can see, because I've got no flooring in or anything else at the moment, I'm going to have to do that at a later time when the flooring's in and I've got a rough idea of where all the appliances are going to be going. But in the meantime, as I say, at least that's that tank mounted. Made it a hell of a lot easier while I had full access in and around the full chassis beams rather than having to clamber underneath the van. Pretty much the same sort of installation. If you're doing it under the van, it's just a lot more awkward. You've got a lot more chance of getting crap in your eyes, this, that, the other. So as I say, I was really grateful that I've got all this access just to be able to get it nicely mounted, nice and quickly. So hope you found this video useful. If you did, do give it that good old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button and have a look at my channel. There's loads of content on there already. I've already documented 5, 6 conversions on there already. They're all documented job by job, as well as this Mercedes is going to be as well. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video of the series, where one of the later videos will be connecting all the copper pipework to all the appliances when the kitchen's actually built. So as I say, subscribe for that video, and that one's going to be to come. That'll probably be in a good few videos time by the time all the kitchen's built up. So in the meantime, I'm going to start cutting down some marine grade plywood flooring, get some flooring laid into the floor itself, get some insulation in, new layer of flooring on top of that, and then I'll finally be able to start building up the interior. So, as I say, subscribe, follow along, thumbs up, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video of the series. Thanks for watching. Cheers.